Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back in time, over 2,400 years ago, to the streets of Athens. A city known for its philosophers, its democracy, its pursuit of wisdom. And in the middle of this city lived a man who was unlike anyone else, Socrates. Socrates never wrote a single book. He never built an army. He never sat on a throne. Yet his words, his questions, his courage shook the foundations of Athens and continue to echo across the centuries. Now imagine with me his final day. Picture him sitting inside a dim prison cell. Outside, the world is alive. Merchants selling, children playing, soldiers marching. But inside, there is silence. A silence heavy with the weight of a choice. Socrates had been put on trial. His crime? Asking questions. Questions that made people uncomfortable. Questions that forced people to examine their lives. He asked the rich, "Do you truly know what wealth is?" He asked the politicians, "Do you truly know what justice is?" He asked the ordinary citizens, "Do you know yourself?" And because of these questions, because he pushed people to think, he was accused of corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. The jury condemned him to death. But here's where the story becomes extraordinary. His friends, loyal, brave, desperate to save him, offered him an escape. They bribed the guards. The path was open. All Socrates had to do was run. And yet, he refused. But why would a man choose death over freedom? Socrates said something profound. It is not living that matters, but living rightly. My friends, let that sink in. What good is life if it is filled with lies? What good is freedom if it costs you your soul? So, on that final day, Socrates calmly sat with his disciples. He comforted them. Imagine that. The man about to die was the one giving courage to those who would live. He spoke about the soul, about virtue, about truth. And then, when the cup of poison hemlock was handed to him, he lifted it without trembling. He drank it, slowly, peacefully, with no regret. And as his life slipped away, his legacy was born. Now, what does this mean for us today? We are not standing in an Athenian prison. We are not being asked to drink poison. But in our lives, we too face moments when we must choose. The easy road or the honest road. What feels safe or what feels right. Fear or courage. Think about it. How many times have you faced a choice where telling the truth might cost you something? Maybe it's standing up against injustice at work. Maybe it's speaking honestly in a relationship. Maybe it's following your dream when everyone else tells you to play it safe. In those moments, we are standing exactly where Socrates stood. The question is, what will we choose? Socrates teaches us that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing truth despite fear. And truth is not just words we speak, it's a life we live. Friends, ask yourself today, what am I willing to stand for? What values will I not compromise, no matter the cost? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? Because in the end, the world may forget your wealth. It may forget your titles. But it will never forget your courage and your truth. Socrates could have lived quietly, comfortably, by betraying his principles. But if he had done that, history would not remember him. Instead, he chose to live and die with integrity. That is why today, 2,400 years later, we still speak his name with respect. Let me remind you of his most famous words. The unexamined life is not worth living. This is not just a philosophy, it is a challenge. It is a call to look at our own lives honestly. Are we truly living with purpose? Are we questioning ourselves, our choices, our actions? Or are we simply drifting through life, afraid to confront the truth? My friends, let us learn from Socrates. Let us have the courage to stand for what is right, even if we stand alone. Let us live in such a way that when our last day comes, we too can leave this world without regret, because we lived with honesty, with courage, with truth. So today, make a promise to yourself. I will not run from the truth. I will not let fear control my choices. I will live a life that, when examined, is worth living. That is the legacy of Socrates. That is the lesson of his last day. And that is the path to true victory. Thank you.